Hi, this is just a really quick video, but this just really needs to be addressed. And it was one of my first fears when I saw that thick black smoke pouring out, and I know about all this noxious fumes that come off plastics. We all know that plastics are highly toxic, and we don't know what chemicals are in this cladding. And I was very concerned about the chemicals that would be released in that smoke, and I did mention it in the first video that I made, and I do explain right here and now that all the videos I've made about Grenfell, you know, they are purely for the support of the community at Grenfell, to alert those who have power to the issues at stake here. You know, I'm not trying to create a name for myself or any particular organisation through this. Every video I've made, and I know some of them are emotional, and I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to cope with the emotions, okay? Learn to live in a non-psychopathic world, and then if you don't like dealing with that level of high emotions that are expressed in only some of my videos, because I've managed to keep it calm in most of them, and in this one. But you know, please understand that that is why we try to live lawfully, so we don't reach those levels of high upsets and deep emotional outbursts and outrage. You know, that is an abuse of our consciousness, to be driven to that level of outrage and pain, okay? And all my concerns are, you know, they're an expression of pain. So if you don't like the pain, stop inflicting the damage. And now this is the final straw. This is where they can all get lost. Seriously, just arrest these people already. I'm going to spend tonight, I'm going to write a crime report, Grenfell. I'm going to pass it on, I'm going to publish it on my Facebook, okay? Deborah Mahmoodieh. I always use my real name. I know it's a risk, but who cares? I'm not out to hurt anybody, okay? So why should I have to hide my name and behind a pseudonym? I'm not blaming people that do, because I understand, you know, people are at risk here. So, you know, but me personally, because of what I do and where I'm at, and you know, my experiences and everything, I do use my real name. And as I say, I'm going to write a crime report, and if anybody wants to download that, or if anybody wants to take pointers from that and hand it in, somebody, a representative of the Grenfell community needs to take that to the police and demand an immediate investigation, okay? Because forget the government inquest. They don't need an inquest. They've already got this. They've already got the inquest from the last high-rise fire, haven't they? You know, I mean, can anything extra be learned? But now we find out that the insulation used on Grenfell Tower's cladding came with a warning. It would give off toxic fumes if burned. It has emerged. That's it. This is murder. This is murder. Nobody covers a building in a cladding that is non-fireproof, non-fire resistant cladding. They had a choice. Which would you like to choose? The fire resistant cladding or the non-fire resistant cladding? Because obviously any cladding that isn't fire resistant is non-fire resistant, isn't it? Otherwise the fire resistant stuff wouldn't be labelled fire resistant. So what do? If you're thinking about choosing the non-fire resistant cladding, okay then, so what kind of fumes would this give off if it did burn then? And how quickly would it burn? No, nothing. On an £8.5 million pimp up project, they wanted to save £5,000. Now I've shown on my video Grenfell Follow the Money, and you go and check that out, Grenfell community. okay? Because I tell you now, every single one of the people in that community, you have suffered trauma, and you've suffered a terrorist attack, an economic terrorist attack, and you're all victims, and all of you need to stand up now. I've made a video today as well about the children alert, child protection, Grenfell alert, child protection. I'll leave the link to it under this video. Please have a look at it. I've already contacted one organisation and asked them to get involved with this. We need to act. I don't know, I felt today like that baby's mother was stood next to me, okay, wanting to know that her baby's safe. Now, whether or not people believe in that kind of stuff, I don't care. I believe it, I know it. And I tell you now that they are not going to get away with this by dragging it out for years and years with an inquiry. This is outright murder crime. That they used insulation, burns and gives off hydrogen cyanide. And they want to pass this off as negligence. This isn't negligence. No, no, no. Because these people are supposed to be professional people. That's why they have a high social status. That's why they get massive, huge salaries. And we find that they haven't even got the intelligence of the average school headmaster or school teacher. And they're running our local communities. So I am not going to let this rest, okay? And I don't think anybody should let it rest. And, you know, London's richest borough to move those in temporary housing to cheaper areas. You know, they are trying to gentrify the area, as all the Grenfell action communities have explained time and time and time again. You know, all these attempts to gentrify the community and move people out. It is absolutely disgusting, okay? And we do need to get right up onto this. We really, really, really do. We need to understand that there is an agenda going on here. There is an agenda. And for them to use a material and in a building that it was known, contains, was suffering from power surges that was blowing things up. Okay, these are all the articles from the Grenfell Action Group. Are these people that took part in this, are they even alive? You know, we just don't know, do we? We just don't know. We just don't know. It's very, 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 very serious. And as I say, what's happened here now with this coming out, that's come out today. Now, you know, I did suspect that right from the start, but I just thought, no, they couldn't have done. They couldn't have not only chosen non-fire resistant cladding, but knowing that the cladding, if it did burn, and they installed that in a tower, knowing full well that this tower block was experiencing power surges, and people's electrical equipment has been blowing up. And so the council didn't know what caused the power surges, but as a precaution, they did, after numerous complaints from residents, install a power surge protector. Well, obviously for some reason that power surge protector wasn't adequate, was it? Because somebody's fridge blew up. Now, fridges do not just blow up of their own accord, do they? Unless there's something like a power surge. That would explain it, wouldn't it? And then you've got the highly inflammable cladding. And then we find out that it contains, basically, cyanide gas. Cyanide gas! And they think they're going to get away with this. And now they've got armed police surrounding the local community. Well, you know, central London authorities have a track record of doing that. They create victims, and then they persecute and incriminate and oppress the victims and control them. Well, as I've said in my child protection video below, that will be in the links below this. A comprehensive public inquiry. Go away, Sadiq Khan. What planet are you on? Okay, the only person that spoke any sense out of all you politicians in this, okay, is David Lammy. The rest of you, go away. Even Jeremy Corbyn with your hugs, right? Where is your voice? David Lammy's spoken out, and he's spoken seriously. And that's why I've said he's the only human face that I've seen amongst the powers. The politician, you know, the political powers. Obviously, I've seen plenty of human faces on the ground, plenty of human faces among the public, among people like Lily Allen. But you're part of the establishment already, because you're saying things like, we want a comprehensive public inquiry. No, we don't. We want criminal arrests. So, you know, what can I say? This is just more proof, more evidence that the people that are running Kensington and Chelsea Council, they're barely human. You know, they are. I've shown in my video, Follow the Money, Grenfell, Follow the Money. Go and check that out. I've just given you a little sample of stuff. There's plenty there for somebody else with more wherewithal than me, because I'm just a layperson in all that financial stuff. I don't really understand all of it. I get the basic gist of it, but somebody needs to check it all out. Please look at my video, Grenfell, Follow the Money. Please check that information out. I don't make my videos for any personal acclaim or accreditation or money or anything, just purely for people's rights, for people's human rights, because this is a battle, this is a war against our humanity that's been going on for quite some time now. It's just that a lot of people haven't been aware of it, they've not woken up to it, but this is an alert. What's happened here is an alert, okay? Because the kind of consciousness that can do this to the people of Grenfell Tower, they are ruling our country, and they will do that to anybody. Anybody. All you have to do is to be poor. And anybody that's going on, oh well, it was all Muslims that were living there. How disgusting you are. Please go and look at yourself in the mirror. Are you looking at a human being there? Grenfell was a multicultural community. There were English people there, people from all ethnicities, the large majority of them British born. And people who'd fled from situations like Syria and Iraq, situations that this country, our government, has contributed to for no reason other than a pack of lies. So please, I will write the report. I will write it tonight, and I ask you, or somebody in the Grenfell community, if you don't use that, because obviously you've got the people that were there, have got more understanding than me, but at least you could use some of it, you know. But you need to write a report, and you need to hand it into the police yourselves as representatives. If there's any family members that are known family members, you can get together, or survivors, you can get together, you can issue a crime report to the Metropolitan Police, and it will have to be immediately investigated. And I'm going to work on that tonight. Okay, I'm sure there's people already been doing stuff like that, but whatever I can do, you know, to all I need now is to know that people have got their rights, because that's the most that can be salvaged out of this now. because so many have actually lost their lives, and now we need to be sure that the people who've survived this and the people who've had to suffer this, who've had to witness the horror of it, and who are traumatised by it as well, that everybody is recognised and everybody gets their full lawful rights. So thank you for listening, and as I say, please get with this now, because this is really, really, really serious. And I've just scrolled down the article here, so you can just pause it, but I'll leave you the link to it underneath. And you know, if there's any legal people out there, please get on board with this. Please go and offer your services to the residents, to the people of Grenfell, and to the survivors as well. So thank you.